Alright guys, I want to explain to you how I take care of my pets every day. First thing I do when I walk in the door is I bring down my bucket that I'm going to dump everything in. Take the lid off Ozzy's cage. Grab out any old greens. Take out his old green bowl and dump it in that bucket. Take water. Water bowl, dump it in the bucket, set it aside. Then I come over here, and I grab my poop scoop, and it's hanging over there. And any poop I see in there, or anything I see that doesn't belong in there, I scoop it out. In the bucket. And I also want to tell you guys about my bearded dragons. I've said it in my other videos, but what Ozzy is on, it's called millet, or not millet, it's walnut grinds, and I do not suggest this stuff for everybody. I suggest it to people that want what they would consider a natural look to the tank. And you have to make sure the bearded dragons do not sit there and eat it. But some bearded dragons like to just start getting mouthfuls of it, or whenever they go after their food, sometimes they go a little bit too hardcore after their food and just grab a whole mouthful of it. The reason why it's bad if they get a whole mouthful of this stuff is because it can cause impaction, but this stuff, if they get a little bit of it, it's not as easy to cause impaction as sand would. Sand I would never put my bearded dragons on. There's some reptiles you can, but for the most part, bearded dragons or leopard geckos, uromastyx, whatever you've got, I would never probably put on sand. The best mix for a bearded dragon would be, if you want like a natural look, I think might be like topsoil and a sand mix. But the best thing, if you want to avoid any of it, would be tile, or there's the Repti carpet. I personally don't like the Repti carpet because it's an everyday cleaning thing. Anytime they poop on it, you have to scrub it like crazy. I would rather use tile just because it's easier to clean off, but you have to watch heat bulbs and make sure that tile isn't heating up too much because it can burn their bellies. But I'll show you with Ozzy, if I throw in food, like this dubia roach here, he shouldn't go and grab a whole mouthful of it. He should just stick his tongue out and be able to grab the dubia. And Ozzy's old, so he's kind of slow, but he'll grab it. See? There's no walnut grinds, no chomping after everything that he can see in sight. He knows he can grab his food just by sticking his tongue out usually. But yep, that's how I do pretty much every enclosure in here, is I will grab their food bowl and water bowl, dump them, and sift for poop, and rearrange things if it's needed. So we'll do that with Stewie and Stella's enclosure. We'll get their food bowl here, and grab it, pick up any bits of green sitting around here, because they like to get messy sometimes when they're eating. Take out that food bowl, dump it in my bucket, set it there, lift the screen back up, grab the water bowl, and dump their water bowl. After I grab all my food and water bowls and bring them in here, set them in the sink, and start up my water that I'm filling up in this bucket. Got a filter, so make sure my water isn't going to be hard water, because I have had hard water problems in my pet room before. But I set all my water dishes in here to be cleaned out, switch it over to rinse, and start washing up my water buckets. with that sponge. Once I'm done washing all my dishes, then I start putting dishes away. Got this dish, it's for the bearded dragons. This dish is for the other bearded dragon, Ozzy. Set his bowl back in there. Set their bowl back there. Savannah monitor bowl, I'll put it there in a little bit. Then I got tortoise bowls I set up here. Then I bring my water bucket back in here as a cup. And I fill Ozzy's water bowl. Then sometimes there's extra water I'll just top off, and these plants getting watered. That moss needs to have a lot of water every day to stay alive. The other water bowl. I'll fill that up in a second. Once I'm done filling water bowls back up, I come back here to my desk, my cutting board and knife. Open up my mini fridge. It's got all my food in here. I have my mealworms and super worms. There's some watermelon here, green pepper, mango, and an apple. But all of my greens I put in this. It's a mixture of turnip greens, mustard greens, and collard greens. Set that over there. Come back and grab my mixed fruit and vegetables. Set that there. Grab the mealworms and super worms. Set them there. And then grab a Mountain Dew. That's not for pets, that's for me. Alright, after I grabbed all that stuff, then I start opening up things. And not every day do I feed the same stuff to every pet. I'll mix up my greens. Sometimes I add in kale. If it's summer or spring, I will grab dandelion springs and herbs for the tortoises. Whatever I look up online and see that it's safe, or I have in books and stuff, which I got all my books over here of what is safe for different animals. With the bearded dragons, some days we'll just get greens and a couple mealworms, couple super worms. Some days they get greens and then a few dubias. But pretty much every day they're going to get dubias, but still at least this amount of greens. This is for Stewie and Stella, and this is for Ozzy. Ozzy doesn't knock out all those greens. I just try to give him, you know, a good variety, because if I only put a little bit in there, the amount that he usually eats, then he doesn't even touch them, because every reptile can be different. For the tortoises, I grab about this much and take a little bit away. Have just enough greens at the bottom. Put more greens in here. Then grab a handful of fruit. Usually I don't grab, I pour it, but I'm limited on hand right now because I'm videoing. Throw that fruit in there. It's a mixture of all kinds of different fruits, vegetables, some squash. Let's see, there's strawberry, squash, kiwi. You know, these are red-footed tortoises. They're going to be eating a lot of different things in the wild. They'll even eat protein every once in a while. Protein as in meat. So every once in a while I'll feed them a little bit of tilapia or some really cooked down turkey, but this is maybe once a month, because they also get the protein out of the multivitamin that I sprinkle on my food for the tortoises or the insects once a week. Every Sunday I put a multivitamin on their food. Every day put calcium on their food, but the bearded dragons, they get the calcium out of their dubia roaches. But if I'm not going to feed dubias that day, which that's maybe once a week I don't feed dubias, I'll put a little bit of calcium on their greens. But there's also calcium in certain types of greens too, so they can get it naturally and added to it. Alright, after I've added a couple mealworms and super worms to the greens for the bearded dragons and cut up their greens, then I add calcium. Not very much. They're also going to get dubias that will be gut loaded with calcium, multivitamins, and other good minerals. and also shaken, that I powder coat all of them. All the insects, sorry. Kind of one-track mind. Alright. I've also got my multivitamin that I would sprinkle on once a week, but today is not that day for me to sprinkle that on. But I then add some calcium to the tortoise's food. There is some calcium that is in the vegetables and fruits already, and the greens, but I still like to add a little bit more. Kind of calcium I use is with D3. It's good calcium. I might be upgrading it soon though. I've had a couple people that have been telling me this isn't the best stuff, but that's what I used. Been using for a couple years and it's been working right, but can't always go wrong with fixing something that's halfway broken. It's not really broken, you know. I'm gonna stack my bowls like that. I also wanted to show you guys in my mini fridge, I have fruits in here that can fit in this, and then vegetables in the bottom one. There's like carrots and squash and zucchini and stuff like that. Alright guys, after I get all of the greens and fruits and vegetables out of the way for the tortoises and bearded dragons, I come in here and I grab my bag of rats, which I already did that, and put some in here in this cup for me to thaw out. I run that water until it's hot, pretty hot. Then I fill this cup up. And that will start throwing out some rats. Now the rats are not for snakes. I don't have any snakes, but I do have 2 Savannah monitors, and they eat, every day I'll feed them dubia roaches and some mealworms and superworms. I also feed them a high-grade cat food that is a fish, a white fish. I might need to be upgrading this sometime soon. I'm going to look online for better brands. These are decent brands, but I know, actually I bought some Blue Buffalo. I've heard Blue Buffalo is pretty good for your pets, but I can always upgrade. Sorry I keep on clearing my throat. I've been getting over a cold, finally feeling better and getting over that. Alright guys, now I'm going to show you the average diet that I do with my Savannah monitors. Those rat pups, the cat food, and some dubia roaches. I'm going to shake them in this container. This is calcium. Try to get them covered as best as possible. This is every couple days. I feed them this diet, and I'll mix it around with a lot of different things. Take that back out of there. I have 3 dubias each, sometimes more, just depends. They ate yesterday about this same diet, and it was about twice the amount of what I'm feeding them right now. This is about what their food bowls look like when I'm done. I got 3 dubias in there, sometimes more than half a can of that cat food each. And again, that could be a whole can, just depends on how much I think they're going to eat. If they're still seeming like they need to eat a lot more, if they're just gobbling that stuff down real fast, then I grab them more food. I also got 2 rat pups each for these guys. I'm going to carry this in here. I don't feed them rat pups every day. That's it's good for them, but it's not something they have to have every single day.